My name is Greg Wadinsky. I'm obviously an American citizen and a resident of Maricopa County. I want to talk to you a little bit about what I observed as a certified poll observer, election observer down at the Maricopa County MTech facility, the tabulation center. So on Sunday, November 1st, in the adjudication tabulation scanning room, and in witness with other observer who is here to testify today as well, as my witness, I spoke to this gentleman from Dominion and asked questions on the computer systems contained in the room and contained within that caged area connected to the ballot scanners, the OCR readers. It was my understanding from staff as well as the employees that we were processing mail-in ballots, obviously, and that those tabulations were being fed into the computer system within that room, and there was an assurity that there seemed to be a level of physical as well as network security based on the arrangement of those computer systems. On that day, I asked the gentleman how the tabulation data and scanned images were being stored and backed up. It's common practice in computer system IT administration to do regular disk backups or system backups in the event that some sort of failure occurs to that system. The gentleman stated that he would perform a manual daily backup of the system to an external hard drive attached to and within the secured computer bay glass cage as I described. The hard drive was in a rubberized orange case and easily visible. He pointed to it and identified it. I asked what software program he was using to perform the backups. He stated he was not using an automated backup, but inferred that he was doing a simple manual copy of data to this orange disk, as I'm referring to it here in my statement. Then he said he took and made a second copy of that backup, of that orange backup, and then he reached over to his cubicle area and demonstrated a new box of hard drives that were contained in there, and he was saying that he was making a second copy of that data onto one of those fresh hard drives. That then led me to ask him a common question, which was, is there a chain of custody and where does that drive go? He was a little bit vague in his answer, but he said that there was not a chain of custody and that the copy that he was making daily of the master backup was being taken off-site to another facility, and he was unclear to me how it was, but when I asked him if it was getting serialized or in any way secured, he could not confirm that and basically said there was no chain of custody. I found that alarming. So later that day, on that Sunday, I then again, the same gentleman, observed him having a discussion with some of the staff and others, and I was able to walk about the room somewhat, and I came upon their conversation. And I overheard what he was talking about was, it sounded like he was trying to resolve a problem within the system that perhaps was slowing down the way the system was performing, considering that about 12% of the ballots that were being read at that point were going to what's called adjudication. So we're talking about tens of thousands of ballots a day. And they were very concerned about getting those ballots processed in a timely fashion, as you could imagine. So what he described to me was that he was having to take some of the scanned data and from what was an ever-growing large data file, so to speak, on the Dominion system with its storage, and break that larger file into small files so that he could then point those smaller files to the adjudication stations for more efficient processing. That sounded like a manual and complex task to be taking something that's ever growing, and I asked him, I said, that sounds like a bit of work. At any rate, what I discerned from that conversation was that by doing so, he was able to get some of that processing moving a little bit quicker, and it sounded like they were obviously trying to deal with the situation at hand. But what concerned me about that, and again, I'm only observing, was that it showed to me the fluidity and the porous nature of the access that the administrator had to tabulated ballot data. And that there was the possibility of that human intervention in the process creating a potential or non-intentional error or the potential for lost data or lost files. And that's what I observed on that day.